The exchange of prisoners for 1,200 people is the only concrete result of the negotiations with the delegation from the aggressor country in Turkey. There, they agreed on a new round of exchanges. The negotiations took place the previous evening in Istanbul. Ukraine proposed to hold a high-level meeting, President Zelensky with Putin, in the presence of the American and Turkish presidents. Only this level is capable of achieving concrete progress, say the participants of the negotiations. Before Istanbul, the Ukrainian delegation visited Ankara, where they met with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Meanwhile, Natalia Fibrig was working in Istanbul and will now tell us about the results.
This was one of the shortest meetings between the Ukrainian and Russian delegations in the entire Turkish negotiation track. The general negotiations lasted only 35 minutes. Before that, Rustem Umerov had meetings with Vladimir Medinsky and the head of the Turkish Foreign Ministry. This meeting is being called preparatory. They also discussed the main negotiation issues separately: humanitarian, political, and security matters. The delegations arrived at the Sirigan Palace around 6 in the evening. The general negotiations started at about 8:30 in the evening. They were opened by the Turkish Foreign Minister, Hakan Fidan. After the negotiations, journalists, in the now usual chaos of these meetings, divided up, some heading to the Ukrainian side's press briefing, others to the Russians. Ukraine insists on a meeting at the highest level. This was stated by the head of the Ukrainian delegation, Rustem Umerov, at the briefing.
Priority number one is to organize a meeting of the leaders of the states. The participation of Presidents Trump and Erdogan would be extremely valuable. A real ceasefire and an end to all strikes on civilian infrastructure. These could be the first important steps toward lasting peace. We are proposing to the Russian side to hold such a meeting of leaders by the end of August. By accepting this proposal, Russia will be able to demonstrate a constructive approach to the whole world, including our partners.
The only track where there is a concrete result is the humanitarian one. The new round of prisoner exchange is supposed to cover more than 1,200 people. Ukraine insists on the return of civilians and abducted children, as well as on a real ceasefire on land, in the air, and at sea.
Ukraine insists on a complete and unconditional ceasefire as a necessary foundation for effective diplomacy. We are ready for a ceasefire right now and to begin substantive peace negotiations. The next step is up to the other side. We emphasize that the ceasefire must be genuine. This must include a complete halt to strikes on civilian and critical infrastructure.
After the negotiations, the Russians said that a high-level meeting still needs to be prepared. They proposed working groups to operate online and short-term ceasefires for 24 to 48 hours, while Ukraine is demanding a comprehensive silence regime. The Turkish negotiations ended with a call for a meeting at the highest level. And, in fact, just like last time, they hope that maybe Donald Trump's ultimatum to end the war in 50 days will actually bring Putin to the negotiating table in Istanbul. From Turkey, Natalia Fibrig and Denis Savchenko, TSN 1+1.
An incredibly emotional return. 250 Ukrainians returned yesterday from Russian captivity. This time, they were all men, fighters from different sections of the front, mostly privates and sergeants. But among those released, there are also officers. Everyone who returned had previously been confirmed by the International Red Cross or the coordination headquarters. The youngest of those released is 27, the oldest is 66. Among them is the last defender of Zmini Island. Now, all the defenders of the island are home. This exchange was supposed to take place yesterday at noon, but the Russian side dragged it out until the evening negotiations in Istanbul. Relatives and loved ones who hoped to see their family members that day had to wait until late at night. At first, as has become customary, ambulances arrived with the seriously ill and wounded. Not all of them were able to move on their own. And an hour later, 5 large buses arrived. And at this stage of the exchange, there were significantly more relatives than usual, who immediately embraced those they had waited so long for. Our correspondents observed how families received their first phone calls after a long separation, while representatives of the coordination headquarters were filming at the border. These are incredible emotions and moments that are hard to watch without tears. Let's watch together now and rejoice for those who finally waited and heard the voice of their loved ones. And of course, we welcome our people home.
Glory to Ukraine. Glory to the heroes.
Mom, Janelle is home.
I'm home. 3.5 years.
I've been waiting for you so much.
Say it, Mom. I love you very much. I love you very much.
I love you incredibly much. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to the heroes.
Russian occupiers have advanced near 2 settlements in Donetsk and Kharkiv regions, according to experts from the Deep State Project. Analysts reported Russian advances near the village of Novoeconomic in the Pokrovsk district. In particular, the occupiers seized positions along the eastern outskirts of the settlement. Enemy army advances have also been recorded near the village of Zelensky High in the Kharkiv region. There, the Russians are advancing in an area that the Ukrainian armed forces had previously liberated during counteroffensive operations in the fall of 2022. The occupiers are using the tactic of small infantry groups to infiltrate the territory of Sumy region, according to border guards. At the same time, there have been fewer attempts by enemy sabotage and reconnaissance groups. The number of saboteurs is increasing in the Chernihiv region. The defense forces are not only repelling attacks, but also conducting their own raids behind enemy lines. While carrying out special tasks near the Russian border, a special operations unit came under heavy artillery fire from the enemy. Under intense fire, our soldiers discovered a group of Russians who were trying to set up a new position. The enemy crew was eliminated. Our soldiers withdrew to Ukrainian territory without any losses. In total, there were 172 combat engagements recorded over the past day. And now about enemy losses. Here are today's figures from the General Staff. The Russian occupiers lost 1,050 soldiers killed and wounded over the past day. Since the beginning of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the Russian army has decreased by 1,046,000 troops. Our defenders have also destroyed enemy equipment. In the fighting, more than 11,000 tanks and 23,000 armored combat vehicles have been destroyed, and also 30,746 enemy artillery systems, nearly 1,500 multiple rocket launcher systems, and 1,199 air defense systems. More than 47,500 tactical level drones have been neutralized, as well as 3,533 cruise missiles. To date, 421 Russian planes and 340 helicopters have been shot down. And at sea, 28 ships and boats and 1 submarine have been neutralized. A passenger plane has crashed in Russia. None of those on board survived. The An-24 was traveling from Khabarovsk to Tinda, couldn't land, went for a second approach, and then lost contact. According to various reports, there were between 46 and 49 people on board. The wreckage was found 16 kilometers from the airport, but the rescue helicopter couldn't land nearby. So the rescuers are making their way there by land. The investigation has been opened under the article concerning violation of aircraft operation rules, which resulted in the death of more than 3 people.